What would happen if somebody made a typo here and looked for a Pokemon that doesn't exist? Well, we'd get this loading Pokemon and it would just sit there forever. We would never get that resolved because the promise would never resolve because it gets rejected. And so React doesn't know that it's time to re-render this component because it never actually resolved, and therefore we don't get the Pokemon data that we need. So the solution to this is to communicate to React when there's an error for this Pokemon promise that we've got here. And the way that we do that is by adding an error handler. So here we're going to get our error, and let's see, we'll want to assign a Pokemon error to that. So we'll say Pokemon error equals that error. And now we can say if there is a Pokemon error, then we'll throw that Pokemon error. And we can save that now, and we get the white screen of sadness. Let's take a look. We do in fact make that post, but it does reject, and it rejects with a rejection message. So with that now, it's indicating to us that we need an error boundary in our tree to customize the error handling behavior. And that's because we probably don't want to just show a white screen. So we do want to customize that error behavior. And this is just a typical error boundary. So we've got one already for us. That's the Pokemon error boundary. And if you really want to dive into it, feel free. It's in this Pokemon utility file here. We have that Pokemon error boundary. It's using the error boundary from React error boundary. And so let's go ahead and use that right down here and stick that there, save that. And now we're getting a nice error message telling us that Pikachu is not supported. So let's go back to Pikachu, make sure things are working just fine. And indeed they are, so we're in a good place handling our error here. In review, all that you need to do to handle errors with React Suspense and Concurrent mode is make sure that the asynchronous thing that you're doing has an error handler, keep track of that error, and then if there is an error, go ahead and throw it, and then your error boundary can handle it for you as well. I should note that this actually has nothing to do specifically with suspense, because you could just as easily say if there's a Pokemon error, then return oh no, and you could do it that way if you want to. So then if we have a Pikachu here, then we're going to get oh no showing up. But I really prefer to just throw errors right here instead. And that way we can use the same declarative Pokemon error boundary that we have here for both the runtime errors as well as errors trying to get data. So in review, all we did here was pull in the Pokemon error boundary. We rendered it around the suspense boundary and the Pokemon info component here. And then inside the Pokemon info, if there is a Pokemon error, which is assigned in our error handler, then we'll go ahead and throw that error, which will then be handled by that error boundary.